So, welcome everybody to my 1967 cab repair. I've already chopped down the frame on other videos and wanted to show you guys all the repair that was done to this cab prior to chopping down the frame. This cab came with a lot of rust, a lot of issues, and as you can see in the videos or the slideshow clips here, that it is, obviously a lot of rust in the cab corners, the door jamb area, and as I investigated further, pretty much kept removing more and more metal to the point that cut the entire cab corner off, cut the floor out, and luckily had another cab corner from a parts truck that I had purchased, and was able to clean that up, get that lined up and matched up. It was a lot of fun trying to get all the different angles, all the different lines matched up, but I was able to get that lined up, clamped in, welded in, and then proceeded on to grinding, cleaning up all the welds, and preparing to weld in the floor panels.
How long do you think this took you?
Probably each floor pan is about 3 hours worth of work. So as you can see in the pictures here, the patch panels, I used the cutout section to, and sheet metal screwed them to them, and then cut out those panels to get a pretty exact match of the floor, and was able to create a very nice patch panel. This is showing how the kick panel has a little jog in it to fit the weather stripping, and I just used scrap pieces of the patch panel to make that, and then welded it in. Something here that was extremely frustrating was the steering column. You keep hitting your head on it all the time, so if you're going to go this far and you're going to take the steering column out, take the steering column out before you weld that driver's side floor in. Passenger side, Rustmore is a great product, and I recommend it for any time you're dealing with rust and you're going to continue to use the sheet metal that has surface rust on it. Make sure to treat it with Rustmore. This panel is another panel that is, taking the old one out, screwing it to it, and then cutting it out, and then showing how well it matches up. Looking at all the bubblegum welds, that's just the way it is when you're welding really thin sheet metal. And then obviously the cab corners in the rear rusted through, like most of them are. If you have rust issues, your cab corners are usually shot. Showing the, getting everything cut out. Be sure to treat all that area that you see there that you're going to leave with some type of rust preventative, because you're not replacing all that sheet metal typically. It's just surface rust in there. Make sure to treat it. Now, these LMC panels that I bought are absolute junk. They do not line up. They do not work. I had to split them in half. I had to hammer and dolly them a ton, and they just don't fit well. And then you see that picture there, I'm having to cut it in half just to get it. They're way oversized. They don't line up body line wise. So yeah, a lot of extra cutting and moving the metal to get it to line up. And then future pictures of the slideshow shows how they weren't even the right shape, and I had to do extra pulling and body filling to get them to line up. All my trucks, I typically take the fuel tank out of the cab and plug off the cab fuel filler. Not a fan of having the fuel tanks in the cab. I like the extra space that it gives you when you can put the seat back an extra inch to, or so without the tank in there. And so this truck is going to be a lot more bodywork, a lot more, better quality paint and stuff. So I went ahead and welded everything and closed it up. On the passenger side, I realized what a pain it was with those LMC panels, so I did not cut all the way around the corner. I just did the small, simple patch that needed to be done versus going all the way around the corner. Here I'm getting ready to pull the cab, stripped it out, leaned it back, put a shop blanket underneath so I could rest on, and now it's exposing all of the under rust and all of the issues that were underneath the cab. This creates a very nice work environment versus welding above yourself. I pressure washed it, got it all clean, and started building panels. I bought extra corner panels, and then I reversed them and flipped them and hammered and dollied them to match. When I was buying these panels, I could not find the inner panels available. I know they are now, but at the time, you can see this is the outside corner panel, but I hammered and dollied it to make it fit. The cab support cross member was completely rotted out on both sides. So here I had to use some scrap sheet metal to create a patch panel for the cross member that was rotted out, completely cut out the rotten sheet metal, created a whole new patch panel. You can buy these, but I did not feel the need to do so at the price they were asking for them when it was just some simple sheet metal patch panels. Both sides need to be done. Passenger side was not nearly as bad, so just some cutouts and cleanup and rust treatment, and it was done. Passenger side, similar as the driver's side, I just flipped a outer panel, hammered and dollied it to match the body lines, welded it in, and moved on. Cab counters looked great, but where they were actually mounted to the to the frame, and the rubber bushings that hold them there were actually rotted all the metal out. So what I thought were good cab supports were bad. Had to order new ones. Marked everything out really well. Luckily, the reproductions are great quality and lined up perfectly to the old ones, and was able to spot weld them all back in like the factory ones. Moved on to body working the floors. Not always necessary, not everybody does it, but this truck I wanted to be as nice as possible. Real high quality paint job on it, high quality reproduction, repairs and everything. So body worked the floors, body worked the cab corners, body worked the cab's cross members, everything, and tried to really create a look that was hard to tell that had been repaired. So the entire floor was then underfloor was coated with spray on bed liner, and it's really hard to tell where the repairs were done. Yes, you can see them still, but very, very hard to tell when it's all said and done. Very happy with how it came out. Removed the cab completely from the bed, or from the frame, set it in the shop, and started continuing to do body work. The cab, this truck had been used as a work truck, had a flatbed on it, had a ladder rack over the cab, had lots of dings and dents everywhere, and 50 plus years old. So a lot of sanding, a lot of body filler, a lot of work to try to bring every panel back to being smooth again, and just continuing to go over all the panels until I was satisfied with how they looked. Inside the cab was pretty clean, pretty straight. Required a little bit of cleanup, a little bit of work, but overall was really nice inside. sprayed it with epoxy primer, got it all sealed up, and then mounted the driver's door, and then started working on it. And it being a 1 year only door, I was dedicated to saving it and not trying to find a replacement. So I spent a lot of time finding all the little dings and dents and creases, and spent a number of hours working on this door to just make sure it was as good as possible. Had a big long crease down the bottom of the door, bunch of door dings, a bunch of little, issues. The spot welder or pin welder hammer slide, one of the best tools I've ever bought for dealing with bodywork. It just makes trying to bring panels back into alignment one of the so much easier when you're dealing with dings on a double-sided panel that you can't always get to. Doors are hollow, but you can't always get up into those areas to hammer on the backside of them. So the pin welder slide hammer tool is just a necessary tool when you're doing body work, in my opinion. Got all the panels lined up. You can see here with the tape, it just kind of shows you when you're putting all the panels back online that it's really important to get them lined up. Now this is what I was talking about on the LMC cab corners. They do not follow the actual body line. You can see how far that door sticks out from the cab corner. Brand new replacement cab corner does not fit. I had to pull it with the pin welder, try to pull the sheet metal out. The door lined up everywhere perfectly except for those new cab corners. So I pulled the sheet metal, used some body filler, and got the body lines matched back up and really, looking good here, where you can see that they now line up and everything is true to where it should be. I had to go out and look at my other trucks because I was so flustered with how that looked. And once I compared what the original cab corner looked like and how the doors lined up and everything like that, I realized how bad the LMC sheet metal was, and that it was straight versus curved like the doors are and like the original cab corners are. So that just solidified in my mind that I had to do a lot more body work, pull that sheet metal out as far as possible, and then add the body filler to fix the unfortunately fix the replacement panels. So just be aware that when you are ordering your panels and stuff, that a lot of these do not fit as they're supposed to. But that pretty much wraps up what I've done to the cab and how it has turned out. Hope you guys enjoyed the slideshow, and I'll catch you guys all next time.